All right, you and I both love Kentucky. We're about 36 hours late on this recap, but we've been a little busy with various things. We're here to recap Kentucky's loss to UNC-Wilmington. Not good. Not good. That's where I'd start. Look, Kentucky at their best has looked like the best team in the country this season, as little as less than a week ago when they destroyed Miami. Kentucky at their worst is a team that can lose to decent mid-majors any given night. Like that's now been a proven thing. They could have lost to St. Joseph's. Here they are losing to UNC-Wilmington. In Rupp is not good at all. Reed Sheppard was phenomenal again. I think that's about the only thing that went great for Kentucky in this game. But he had 25 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 for 6 from 3. I'm starting to think this guy is going to be like the world's first 60, 50, 95 guy. Like, I think that's on the table here for him.
And when he does it, meanwhile, people are going to still be looking like, well, what did Rod Dillingham do?
Dude, I just can't get over how good Reed Sheppard is. But while we say, let's go back to one of our favorite games we used to do early in the season. Is this bad for Kentucky that Reed Sheppard was this good and they lost the game still?
I think it is.
Like, that's got to mean something, right?
Yeah, it does mean something to me. And I apologize for people who don't listen to us or maybe who are new listeners to us, but give y'all an insight into myself and Greg's like podcasting history. We have this thing called the middle that we talk about a lot with a lot of teams. I think I might be willing to bring our middle tactic to Kentucky. I think I want to find somewhat of a middle. You know, that game against Miami was just so impressive. Everybody was hitting on all cylinders. They were having fun. They were getting out in transition. They were blowing them out. It was amazing. It was hype. Everything was great. Squished in between that or around that game, you have St. Joe's and the dogfight with St. Joe's. St. Joe's good team though. Don't get me wrong. Like a good mid-major. Sorry, let me throw that out there. And then you had the loss at home as 18-point favorites to UNC-Wilmington, who, granted, to give you a little bit of tiny bit of leeway, you could see UNC-Wilmington in the tournament as like a conference tourney winner. You could see them in the big dance. They might be a team that is good enough to win a game.
Did you just do what I think you did?
What?
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you just Long Beach stated. You called me out pretty hard for doing the whole that's a team we could see in the tournament thing.
Okay, but this seems actually Long Beach State then followed it up with a loss to Southern Illinois or Northern Illinois.
I mean, Long Beach State right now is about 19 spots behind UNC-Wilmington.
Okay, great. God damn it, Ken Palm. Anyway, back to my point though, Gregory.
Okay, all right.
I think there needs to be some type of middle with them. Like it shouldn't just be the getting up and down, the running and having fun and blowing out Miami and then coming back and losing at home to UNC-Wilmington. There needs to be some type of just middle ground solidarity. And I don't know how that's necessarily reached because this team is so young. And it's what makes them fun, but it's also what makes them scary. They're volatile in both a good and a bad way because they're so young and they're talented and they play a certain style. So I really don't know what the solution is. In the UNC-Wilmington game, I thought there were some clear things that they should have been taking advantage of, but it seemed that guys kind of got caught up in their own ways. More specifically, I think Rob Dillingham kind of just you saw the greatness of him against Miami, but you also saw what it can look like when it's bad. And I thought that hurt the team. But I don't think there should be a game where Trey Mitchell only has 5 shots. In a game, I think he can clearly win his matchup. Trey Mitchell's too good of a player to end a game with 5 shots in my eyes. And you go down the board, you look at the other teams, and there's guys that are clearly having more shots than him. And it's not necessarily awful that Reed Sheppard has more shots than Trey Mitchell, but there shouldn't be a game where he only has 5 shots. I just think that's inexcusable.
That's fair. Counterpoint, should anybody ever shoot that's not Reed Sheppard? Like
just reach 30 times. I don't think the ball should be in anybody's hands but Reed Sheppard. I will say that. I think Reed Sheppard should be making all the decisions.
Well, it's like kind of like we just did the thing with Luke Goody on the Illinois thing. Like if he's shooting 50% from 3 on the season, he needs more attempts. He needs to shoot 10 times a game, not 5. Like if Reed Sheppard is literally going to finish this season shooting 60, 50, 100, like, okay, no, he needs to double this until this starts to go down a little bit. Look, obviously that's a joke. I've been struggling. I watched this game and then obviously, you look at the numbers after, and I'm struggling with what I thought Kentucky did wrong in this game, which is what scares me the most, because I don't feel like they turned it over too much. 13 times. You'd obviously like to trim that down, but it's not like they were just being reckless with the ball. They didn't make a bunch of shots from outside. That definitely matters. To me, the only guy you can even really point to that I think you would say like played horrible in this game was Rob Dillingham. You just got a bad Rob Dillingham game, right? 1 for 9 from the floor, 4 turnovers. Unfortunately, I think that's going to happen with Dillingham. Like, I think he's going to have nights where he's incredible, and then there's going to be nights where he's a liability. And Kentucky, when they have DJ Wagner, can survive that a lot more. Obviously, you didn't have DJ tonight, so you kind of still had to play Dillingham 24 minutes. But I don't know. I just that's the scary thing is I wish we could come back to this game and be like, oh, here's the obvious thing Kentucky did wrong. And I can't really. Like UNC-Wilmington didn't shoot the lights out like St. Joseph's did when that was a close game. Like UNC, I don't know.
So I don't want to cut you off, but like this is what I point to what went wrong. It classic coach speak. You break down games into 4-minute segments. You've heard of that before, like 20-minute halves. You break it down to 4-minute segments, try to win that 4 minutes. In the last 4 minutes, it came down to UNC-Wilmington guys making plays and Kentucky players not making plays. Bad shot selection, bad turnovers. Guys on UNC-Wilmington doing things, getting to the rim, making shots, getting fouled, doing great things. And it literally, if you break down that game in 4-minute segments, UNC-Wilmington's guys just won more of those segments. And the one segment that Kentucky won, they got the game tied, and then they bounced that back by going away from what got them back and what won that 4-minute segment. And then UNC-Wilmington started doing their thing again. So it's just like you let them hang around, you let them do their thing. And I mean, credit to UNC-Wilmington, they had guys that made plays. And in the first half, they made 6 or 7 threes. That's credit to them for hitting shots. To be honest with you, not all of them were easy.
Yeah, no, they had definitely big moments late. That's just like tip your cap. But yeah, I don't know. I just that's the reason it gives me more pause with Kentucky is like I don't feel like there's anything that was like majorly obviously fixable in this game, and I don't feel like UNC-Wilmington played particularly well even, which when you have Reed Sheppard doing what he did and you still lose the game, you would like to say, oh, that team was just hot as hell tonight, or oh, this was the easily fixable thing. I don't know what it is. Aaron Bradshaw, 13 minutes in this game, finished with 3 points, 2 rebounds, and a block. Obviously, nice to see him in his debut for Kentucky. What'd you think of Bradshaw?
I see what's there. The thing I had in my notes is that Bradshaw runs kind of funny, and I just had to bring that up. He really keeps his arms in and his wrists in when he runs. I think it's pretty. Gave me a little chuckle, but I think it's definitely good to have him at his disposal. I think it'll do Kentucky well having him moving forward, because I think they struggled on the boards at sometimes during this game, and having rim protection as well. I think UNC-Wilmington went to the rim with no fear in this game.
Yeah, that is like maybe to what I just said to kill it. The one thing I think you can point to is that Kentucky didn't have enough inside in this game, both from Trey Mitchell and from Bradshaw. I think it's going to take some time with Bradshaw, which was not always what has been said to us. I feel like you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there are some people that actually know ball big time and are like national media type people who have kind of hinted that like, oh, they're getting Bradshaw back, he's going to be great. And I didn't see that here. Now, that's a lot. I don't want to put too much on the kid's plate. Maybe next game he'll come out and have a double-double. It could absolutely happen. He's super talented. And this was clearly like, oh, we'll just work him back in type game. Mm-hmm. But I didn't see it in those 13 minutes. Like, I don't see impact center from him.
They probably had a plan to actually work him back in, and then they're like, oh, shit, we're down 13.
Yeah. Yeah, not great. Okay. here's a question. Which version of the two Kentucky teams we saw this week, the loss to UNC-Wilmington and the blowout win against Miami, which version is closer to the version that you think we will see more of this season?
The UNC-Wilmington game.
Whoa. Talk me through that.
I just think that there's not going to be a way that they play that Miami game and it's going to fly. I just don't see that being sustainable or it being that close. Like, I'm not saying that it's like what their game against UNC-Wilmington is exactly what they're going to be. I just think it's closer to what that team is going to be. I think they're way far away from what happened in that Miami game. I thought that was just a special game where everyone was hitting, everyone was getting out and having fun, everyone was running in transition, and Miami was just rattled.
Okay. I'm going the opposite route. I think the Miami game is actually closer. They're not going to shoot the way they did every game. They're not going to just like pour on the offense like every game like happened in that game. But I've landed on this with Kentucky. They have flaws that might not be fixable. I wish they had a center that was just like no-brainer good. I wish they had gotten a transfer portal guy that is not Trey Mitchell, to be honest with you. Like, I think Trey Mitchell's fine. He's a good player. But I just feel like, I said this at the time in the offseason. Your competition when your Blue Bloods are getting superstars. John Calipari was in the airport in Michigan trying to get Hunter Dickinson. He didn't get him. And they needed that type of impact guy to be like top 5 team in the country team to me. And they're still sorely missing that guy, especially in the front court. But what I feel strongly about is we know who Antonio Reeves is. He's a really good player that's going to score double digits most nights. We know who Reed Sheppard is. He's a freaking superstar. We didn't know that at the beginning of the year. Like, I now expect every single night Reed Sheppard is the best player on the floor. And I think when you have Sheppard and you have Reeves, all you need is like 1 to 2 of the other guys to become consistent in their role for this team to be really, really good night in and night out. They're not all the way there yet. And DJ Wagner was out. That's a critical guy they were missing. But I think they'll get there. I think Miami and the high ceiling is closer to who they really are.
I'm not, you know what? I can't even combat that as much as I want. Cause I think it's just, it's in the middle of that more so than anything to me. But like I said, I think it's a little bit closer to UNC-Wilmington.
And you just want to find the middle. That's a nice way to put a bow on it.
Hey, finding the middle is great. I'll let that be known. I know not everyone on here has watched has followed us maybe for a long time, but we are big on the middle.
Over under banners for Kentucky this season, 0.5. Over or under?
Over.
SEC champs?
SEC regular season champs.
Final Four?
Maybe.
Is that a no?
No.
Find the middle. All right, congrats, Kentucky fans. Except not congrats, you lost. That's a bad look. Hopefully you get right this week.